Hello, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters, and of course, welcome to Kaiju Connections, my segment on the channel dedicated to all things kaiju, cinema, and now television. Because a lot of great kaiju television stuff out there right now, including Monarch, Legacy of Monsters Season 2 coming real soon. But let's talk about something else. Another classic kaiju film from the 1960s. And to talk about this particular film, I have two amazing guests with me. I have Mr. Dan Miller, the professor from Dan Filament.
Good evening.
Yes, and then we have the Kaiju what's that now? You've changed your name. Kaiju Enigma Ultra Jake. Is that your Power Rangers name?
Well, no. Thanks to Fat Samurai Guy, considering of my fan of these guys back here, Ultraman. Why not?
Why the hell not?
So, my new name.
Yes. So Konga is sorry, not Konga. Fat Samurai Guy, sorry, is never wrong. And speaking of Konga, that is exactly what we are here to talk about. From 1961. So let's talk a little bit about it before we get right into it. So Konga is a 1961 Eastern color monster film directed by John Lamont and starring Michael Gough, Margot Johns, and Austin Trevor. It was written by Herman Cohen and Eben Candle, and I believe this is a co-production between the United States and the United Kingdom. So technically, it's pretty much the second major kaiju movie, to my knowledge, that is a joint production with the US and the UK. So technically, it's a British kaiju movie, the British King Kong, we could say. And it had a budget of 500,000 to 300,000.
Oh, wow.
So before we start, let's check out who's in chat. We have Kaiju Ricky, Kong, not that Kong. Oh, wait there. He meant Konga. And then we also have Queen Glamazona. These are the classics I grew up with. Yes, there's many classic kaiju films I also grew up with. And this one, however, was not one of them. That is true. I think you can still get it on DVD in the UK. I don't own it, but I do believe it is available on DVD.
Yeah, it's distributed by Network, which is a subsidiary of Studio Canal.
Oh, nice. Roman, he's a fan of Konga. Beautiful poster, that is correct. So now that we've introduced some of our audience members, let's get cracking and talk a little bit about Konga. As for me, I normally start these things by asking when was the first time you've seen, the particular film or show we're about to talk about. And I'll be upfront straight away. This was my first time seeing Konga. It was available for a while on Tubi, but when I went to check out to watch it, it wasn't available on Tubi. So I had to hunt high and low, and I finally found it on Amazon, and I paid to watch it. Was it money worth spent? Let's find out. And so now, Mr. Daniel Miller, your turn. When was the last time, or the first time, you seen Konga?
Yeah. I found out about Konga when I was watching Gorgo originally for the first time, because yes, Mr. Tony, that's right, it is a great movie. Yeah, so I was watching Gorgo. Then on the Blu-ray, in one of the trailers, there was a trailer for Konga. And I was like, okay, so we have a British Godzilla and a British Kong. I need to find this. So I did, and one of my friends in the States knew about this because of Michael Goth, who after this would play as Alfred in the live-action Batman TV series starring Adam West. So I managed to find a DVD copy around after I came back from G-Fest in 2022. And first impressions, not quite what I was expecting, but at the same time it is. So it met expectations, but at the same time it didn't. In the sense that, okay, so it's a quasi remake of King Kong, but there's a bit of a twist going on here. Like, for instance, Kong, which we'll explain later on, he's not this mystery of nature in Konga. It's a completely different thing. But yeah, it was easy to see that there wasn't that much of a budget put into this movie, and it shows. But it is, for what it is thoroughly entertaining, I will say.
Yes. Jake Hall, your first time viewing Konga.
Well, the first time I viewed it, I believe, was when I purchased this right here, the twin pack with young Gary and Konga. I believe, because I don't remember watching it on TV or anything. And when I first watched it, I was like, "Oh, this is a interesting concept. Very interesting." And I was like, "Okay, you're still getting me. You're still getting me." I mean, and then the ending, I'm like, "Oh, okay, interesting."
Mm-hmm.
Interesting is a interesting word to describe Konga. So, like I said, my first time viewing this film, but I'm going to take it to Daniel Miller to talk through this film, because with me being first time viewer, my mind's still like mixed up on my feelings on this particular film. So I'll let you talk about this plot.
Okay. The plot begins. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good double feature. All right. The plot begins with a scouting plane flying over the jungles of Africa. Then it has some unexplained difficulties, and for some reason it crashes into the jungle. Then we learn that the main character, played by Michael Goff, he's a science professor and university teacher. He was on this plane.
Charles Decker.
Yeah,
I believe he's called.
that's right, Dr. Charles Decker. He's assumed to have been killed, but after a year, there he is, played by the man himself, Michael Goff.
Mm-hmm.
But then after a year of silence, it's reported that he's alive and he's coming back to London, and he's come back with a little chimpanzee named Konga.
You are going to see chimpanzee Go.
Yeah.
Wrong movie.
Kongo. All right, this is going to be a challenge. Don't get the two mixed up. How can you not f this up? Okay. All right. So yeah, he explains about his journey. He's like, I've discovered insectivorous plants, which are carnivorous plants.
Yeah.
Yes, he was Alfred from Batman. So he's discovered a new type of insectivorous plants indigenous to the continent of Uganda in Africa, and he plans to perform research on them. He then goes back to his home and to his housekeeper, played by Jess Conrad, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So he goes back to his house and he introduces Konga, and it's like, well, you haven't had much sleep. You're just going straight into work. So then we see the serum that he extracts from the plants after he tears out the plants in the greenhouse and plants the new seeds that he's brought back from Africa. And then we see that they turn into these giant giant carnivorous plants. Now, I'm going to know that someone out there is going to make what is, in my opinion, a very unfair comparison to Day of the Triffids. So I'm not going to be that person. But
Yeah, I can understand
yeah,
why they've got that comparison.
yeah,
Because basically, like you see, when the plane crashed, he was stuck in Africa for over a year.
mm,
And he basically discovered about this tribe and like their habitat and how basically they grow the plant life to enormous sizes to help harvest and feed the tribe and all that, but also it has an effect on the wildlife.
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we then see the plants. Of course, afterwards, there's a serum extracted from the plants. Dr. Decker injects a little syringe of the stuff into Konga. We see Konga grow in size, and the family cat, after the serum boils over as it's being brewed over a Bunsen burner, the cat licks some of it, and Dr. Decker puts down the cat and puts a. Now this should have been the red flag for his housekeeper. I don't know why she didn't act sooner. But it's like, I can't have my research ruined because of a cat. Konga is the main experiment, not when I'm this close. Yada yada yada. And first time watching this is like, Madam, your housemaster is a maniacal scientist. Aren't you going to do something? Oh, okay. No, apparently not.
This goes back to what Queen Glamazona has said,
Yeah.
that Goth plays a very cold-blooded character in this film, and I agree. And I
Very
actually found that
perfectly as well.
really interesting compared to, if you knew him from playing Alfred in Batman to then seeing him in this, it's like a total, like, different performance, and you like see how cold-blooded he can be. And
Yeah.
he's obsessed with these experiments. He's obsessed with kind of proving himself right about these, what the effects of these experiments can actually potentially bring to the world.
Not only that, but he has to have these plants at a certain temperature, which was
90 degrees.
I thought it was 91.
No, it was 90.
Okay, but yeah, and each time they go in there, of course, the mad scientist is like, just hand me the equipment. Hand me this equipment. Yes, yes. And the assistant is like, God Almighty, I'm stifling in here.
I'd say, Jake, if you were cast for a mad scientist, you would be perfect for the part from that demonstration just there.
That was something special, Jake Hall.
Yep.
That was the Ultra Jake coming out.
Yep. No, I think Jake's had a bit too much of that serum, Kevin.
Oh God!
I don't know why you've injected it. Anyway, carry on, Mr. Daniel Miller.
Okay. Yeah. After we see Konga experimenting with the serum and the plants being fed little slices of meat, which very morbid me the first time watching this. I thought it was like, oh, we actually cut up the dead cat and fed it to him. No, he doesn't actually. He doesn't actually explain what he did with the cat, so it's probably best not to know.
And can I say the practical effect for it being a low budget and seeing that dead cat? That was actually pretty good. I mean,
yeah, I thought that.
And all he did was, I'm just going to drape a blanket over it and act like nothing happened.
Yeah.
As you do. Yeah, afterwards, we see him, he's gone back to college and he's teaching a class, showing them the footage that he managed to capture on his camera of the tribe in the African Congo. And he explains how they use the plants, how they make trinkets, and how they now the witch doctor is sort of like this god among the community. And it's
Yes.
here that we're introduced to two students who are also integral to the plot. Well, if you can identify the plot. So
Yes.
yeah,
That is very true.
there's this subplot going on with two students. One of them is quite infatuated with Dr. Decker and spends most of her time being her assistant, and the other is her boyfriend, being like, "You spend more time with Dr. Decker rather than me. I'm starting to get jealous." He's like, "Oh, can't you see he's got a hold over you?" After that seed is planted for the plot, he's then brought forward before the dean, who's the head of the college, and he's basically grilling him about his comments about his scientific discoveries. To which Michael Goff asks, "You don't mind, provided you don't mind me making an ass of myself, provided I don't drag the university's name into the mud,"
Mm-hmm.
and which is what the dean
We're
say.
also before we're talking, you've also got, obviously you've mentioned, so that is actually his wife, I believe, or the woman that his housekeeper,
Yeah,
who wants to become his wife. She
right.
kind of has a feelings for him,
Mm.
which, you know, like, you know, he's like, he's a, you know, he's a smart scientist. He's I guess, a handsome old man or middle-aged man to her around the same. So he is Charles Decker. She is Margaret Decker, as she's credited. So even though they're not married and wants to be married, she has the same surname according to the casting here.
Mm.
And so obviously she's, like you see, his assistant slash housekeeper. She's obsessive with him. She's seen how he is with these experiments and how he has the small chimpanzee Konga, and he's going to use him as his like guinea pig for this experiment. And as you mentioned, you have the young student
Mm-hmm.
who I think she is. I think her name's Sandra. And
Yes.
she basically, I don't think she has feelings for him, but I think because she's smart and she's, you know, she's like a scientist in herself in the making, she's like clinging on to him and being like, you know, the class, you know, the class pet, you know, the
Yeah.
class goody two shoes, because she's trying to earn credit and she's trying to progress herself by clinging on to him, but not in a romantic way. She's trying to progress herself, where she one day will become a scientist. And like you say, these are the two students that kind of, you know, notice this and make fun. And he has feelings for her.
Mm.
That's I believe this character is Dean. So Claire Gordon plays Sandra and Austin Trevor plays Dean. And
Yeah.
basically, he has feelings for her in where he wants to pursue a romantic relationship with her. She doesn't want to because she's concentrating on her studies. But then he also is quite smart, the character of Dean, because he starts to see that Dr. Charles Decker's being acting more than just a professor or a teacher. He's now acting quite creepy, and he's starting to see like this kind of creepy, you know, dirty old man behavior in him, who's like, you know, looking at her in a not like as a student, but in a romantic, I guess, sexual way.
Yeah. Definitely lose your job over that.
Mm-hmm.
And the two guys that you showed a while ago, those were the guys teasing this other guy that, no offense, Daniel, looks
Yeah.
like you. That looks
Oh,
more like him, but his is more chiseled in a
yeah.
way.
And as you said,
Mhm.
Dr. Decker then inserts the serum that he's created into the chimpanzee Konga, who suddenly grows exponentially to a much bigger size, and now resembles a gorilla.
Mhm.
And that look is like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's because
Yes.
he's hypnotizing him with the little pen light.
Yeah, and
Yes,
he's like,
Because I think as how the plot goes is as he's developed this serum, there's something from the plant I think that he can put into the serum that helps him control Konga,
A seed.
like a seed that makes him do his bidding. And because there's like all this disturbance on the campus of the college, I believe the college or what's the name of the college dean,
Yeah.
you know, he threatens to suspend him because he says you're acting erratic, you're acting peculiar, you need to end these experiments or end this way of teaching because it's very erratic. It's not what we normally do here, which of course Dr. Decker takes very not too kindly to, and it's because of this that he grows Konga again, even to a larger size, hypnotizes him to do his bidding, and what he ends up doing, he ends up sending him after the dean and killing him.
Yep.
So he goes from a chimpanzee to a gorilla to Donkey Kong in a matter of minutes.
Pretty much. Yep.
He went from Diddy Kong to Donkey Kong.
Yes. And the gorilla suit was also used in Gorilla at Large.
Correct.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Gorilla.
On an episode of the Addams Family, so at least they got the worth out of the suit.
Yeah.
Hello, big bad wolf.
Hello.
Thanks for joining. So continue with the plot. So what he now murders the dean, and he's now going more into madness.
Yeah. So it's here that he hosts a housewarming party with some colleagues and some guests, and that one of them is another scientist. I'm trying to remember his name, but I remember the actor who plays him because he also played as the villain in the Doctor Who serial Tomb of the Cybermen back in 1967. So this scientist, he says,
Professor Tagore he's called, played by George Pastel.
Yeah, that's the guy.
So Professor Tagore is another scientist who basically over time has been doing the same experiments as Dr. Decker.
Yes.
And it's basically found the same conclusion and found the same methods into, you know, growing plant life, affecting animals, and even has the ability potentially to control them. And obviously Dr. Decker doesn't like that because he wants to be the one that reveals he's discovered this secret of the plants.
Yeah.
Just to feed his own ego. Pretty much. And, you know, during all this process, you know, the housekeeper already read the news and she's like, "You murdered the dean." And he's saying, "No, I did not murder the dean at all," which technically he didn't, but he acted on it with Konga. Therefore, he is part of the murder.
Yeah, he is involved because he basically organized his murder. He sent Konga after him to kill him. So basically, he planned the murder of the professor.
Yep. All the while, the police are investigating. They questioned Dr. Decker, to which he said, "If there was a disagreement, we had it purely in a scientific capacity. There was no personal rivalry or animosity. We resolved it in our own way," which, of course, is meant to arouse suspicion, but I don't think it does, me personally. Anyway, at the crime scenes of both the dean and the rival professor, they find chimpanzee hair at the crime scene, and they're stumped by this in the sense that, okay, there is something connecting them besides the primate hair that we find, but they can't pinpoint exactly what it is. So the next day, Dr. Decker takes his class out on a field trip in the back of his van. So they drive out into the woods, and there's this bantering and teasing going on uh, with the two students who have the love affair in that subplot. How one of them's closer to Dr. Decker,
Sandra and Dean.
and there's jealousy between them.
Yeah, Sandra and Dean, and at the same time as they're there to study because this is part of Dr. Decker's kind of studies with the students. He takes them out into the countryside to like showcase the plant life, and he tells them all to basically go out there and gather leaves and twigs and plant material so we could do a conversation and a study on them the next day in the classroom. At the same time he's doing that, he asks Sandra if she would follow him and write down his note and basically be like his assistant for the day. But Dean notices that there's a lot more behind it. You can see like there's an attraction with him to her, but not necessarily her to him, because she's kind of oblivious to it.
Yeah.
There's even that scene where when they've gathered the things and he's like, oh, let's get back in the back of the van, and he goes to Sandra, I want you to sit up front with me, just the two of us, so you can take notes. But then she turns round and is totally oblivious. So yeah, sure. But then Dean says, is there room for three? And he goes, no. You basically get back in the back of the van. And he instantly knows, and the other students then start making fun of them because he realizes that he's jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also where you do see kind of the Professor Decker get more into like a madness. He becomes like a crazy mad scientist because he killed the dean of the college.
Yeah.
He then killed these rival scientists. He sent Konga after him. Now, the ultimate thing you can do is when there's like this, like a party or something, he then decides to send Konga after Dean, the young student who he looks at as like his romantic rival, to Sandra and has him killed.
Well, yeah, because Dean attacked him after a little scuffle in the little shed type thing due to the rain, and he had a little scuffle with the professor.
Yeah, because he basically confronted him and said, I know what you're up to. I can see how you're looking at Sandra, and it's not as like a professional professor. You're looking at her with lust in your eyes.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
you're meant to be her teacher, not anything more than that. And because of that of course is where they have the scuffle, and after that, that's when the professor says basically, I'm going to wipe you out and make sure Sandra belongs to me. But at the same time that is all going on, his housekeeper / assistant, who is called, I forgot her name again, who's also called Decker, who is Margaret Decker, played by Margot Johns.
Mm-hmm.
She overhears a conversation. She basically says to him, you cannot be killing all these people because it's looking suspicious. You're putting basically an arrow on your back. And she basically says to him, because she's the only one that knows outside of him about the experiment and Konga and all. And he basically tries to sweeten her and say, right, listen, I'll give you whatever you want. We just need to keep this secret. And this is where she reveals her true feelings and says, I want you to marry me. And he promises to marry her. But at the same time as he promises her, she overhears him have a conversation where he's lusting over Sandra, which basically sends her into a rage. And this is where she herself decides to go down into the science room in the house where Konga's being kept, and she herself decides to inject him even more with the growth serum to make him grow even more, which I don't know why you would do that. He's already a big fucking ape as it is. How big do you want it to be?
Yeah.
But obviously this turns bad because at the same time as she's went down to inject Konga with the growth serum, obviously Sandra's turned up to work under the professor. What she feels or is, it's basically hinted that she's there to work under the professor, but really he has alternated motives and he tries to seduce her at first. Sandra rejects him, and basically he tries to force himself on her. He basically is trying to rape her.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a bit of a scuffle there, and this is where she herself then gets entangled with the
plants.
with the plants, which is was quite creepy. And I'm glad that they had like elements like this in the film, and it wasn't all just down to
Set dressing.
That's them there trying to tangle with her and like pull her over. So it was great that they had like the elements of the Konga, like creature elements with the serum, but I like the element, like you see, with adding the plant life and the craziness around that.
Yeah.
But because of these events that are both kind of transpiring at the exact same time, of him trying to force himself on Sandra, Margaret going down and injecting Konga, because I don't know if he's had an overload of the serum, she no longer now has like control over him.
No.
And obviously he grows to an exponential size.
And
it's because of this, he grows like ridiculously big that he's now uncontrollable.
Yeah. But before all of this, Dr. Decker hypnotized Konga to go out and kill Sandra's boyfriend as she was getting ready to leave for the date.
Yeah.
Hence why Sandra is around at Decker's place. How big do you want Konga to be? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, she was definitely eaten by the plant.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You know what the scariest thing in this film is?
That's the answer. A lunatic.
What's more scarier? A plant that can eat you, or a plant that looks like a giant penis? I was sitting watching this film and I had to do a double take. So,
well, the girl got eaten by a Venus flytrap, pretty much.
Well,
oversized Venus flytrap.
Giant penises with tongues.
I have to go with. I have to say that the Venus flytrap's is probably the more terrifying of the two.
Yeah.
Depends on what terrifies you. But when I seen them, I had to do a double take. I'm thinking, is that what I think it is?
Yes, it is, Kevin. It is. Just run with it.
That was the most terrifying thing I saw in Konga. And hello, Mr. Jedi Granville. We are doing fine and we're talking Konga. Now, since you're in the chat, Jedi, what's more terrifying to you? Is it this? If you can hear it. Is it the Venus flytrap plants? Is it the giant Konga? Or, Mr. Jedi Granville, is it the giant penis plants with tongues?
If we repeat this for every person who joins, we may be the end of Jake.
Well, the thing is, Jedi, if those penis plants came after Jake, he definitely would get choked out.
Oh, dear God.
And apparently the penis plants returned in the Addams Family. But yes, anyway, back to the plot, Mr. Daniel Miller.
Okay. Alright, so the plot at this point is Konga's grown huge, started a fire, killed Margaret, snatched Dr. Decker after breaking through the house and still growing, while Sandra is left to be swallowed up by a Venus flytrap.
Yes. So let's face it, throughout the course of the movie, the entire plot of the movie is basically being like this mad scientist plot. And it's not till the last 10 minutes or so it then develops into the kaiju element, where
Yeah.
Konga has now become supersized. He breaks through the roof of the house. Obviously, the house and the lab turned on fire. He picked up Margaret and dropped her basically onto the floor near the fire where she probably died when the house crumbled. He then breaks out of the house, makes his way to the greenhouse outside where he is attempting to rape and assault Sandra, and then suddenly Konga breaks through the roof of the greenhouse and picks him up, and he's going, Konga, Konga, no, put me down, Konga, like that.
Konga, put me down.
Konga, put me down. Put me down, Konga.
Konga, you fool.
So, yes. You know I'd get you, Jake. So I agree with you on this one, because it's like being a slow burn throughout the course of the movie.
Yeah.
And then suddenly Konga goes, and then he's got Decker in his hand, and then he starts walking towards the city centre, which is London. And basically, Decker's still in his hand and he's holding on to it, and he makes his way to, of course, Big Ben.
You're saying it's heading where?
Big Ben.
Oh my.
Which is in the capital of London.
Yep.
And Jake, would you like to talk us through the final moments of Konga?
Sure, because this one, after rewatching it yesterday, after watching it for so long, so the military arrives after Professor screaming.
Yep.
So Professor still screaming, yada yada yada. Military comes and they start firing at Konga. And as I'm watching the fire, I'm just seeing just little dots just going past him, and then few hitting him. It's like, y'all been shooting him for 3 minutes just about, and y'all are barely hitting him. What in the world?
Yep. And then he just throws Dr. Decker to the streets.
Oh yeah, and they're still firing, and he's like, with that weird roar.
Yep.
And finally, after some hitting and some just going way past him like fireworks, he finally is like, and then falls down. And then as he falls down, he goes back to his normal state.
Now, I have to be honest, I thought that was dead sad. So you see Dr. Decker lying on the floor, dead after being dropped by the larger Konga, and then you suddenly see Konga collapses to the floor outside of Big Ben, but then he starts to regress back to his original form. It's basically like when you see a werewolf get killed. Sometimes you see the person transform from the wolf back to human, and I feel as like that's basically what the showcased here with Konga. And then he's, great little plastic figurines there. As representatives of course, Konga and Dr. Decker.
And everybody just like in Kong just comes up and just like
it was quite sad. Obviously, that is a homage to King Kong, where the crowd goes around Kong's body. They do that with this, but it obviously isn't as impactful because you don't really. He has the negatives for me with this. One second. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
So that's Sister Sarah of My Flock. Please like, share, and subscribe to her channel if you can. So the negatives of this is with it being like it's quite a misleading film for me. So
Just look at the poster.
yes, so the film is very misleading. As you see, the poster it hints that we're in for an amazing kaiju film. Even the tagline there, not since King Kong has the screen exploded with such mighty fury and spectacle. Are they talking about Konga? Or are they talking about this? The penis plant or Konga? Because I swear to God, that was more terrifying than anything Konga delivered on screen. Because
Carnivorous.
Because literally this film was a big disappointment to me. I have to be honest. I went into it blind, never seen it before. My first time viewing it today. I went in, like you see, the poster gives you a spectacle, expecting like another showcase like the Toho Kong walking around destroying things, or Kong himself, King Kong himself. But Konga, it's more, the focus isn't even on him, it's on this professor. It's on about this mad scientist. So I think the name Konga should have been taken out of the film. I think they should have renamed the film to Professor The Madness of Dr. Decker or something. Should have been the title of this film. The Crazy Madness of Dr. Decker. Something like that, because he's at the centre of the plot. It's about this man that basically crumbles into madness, into lust, and into temptation, and he goes in with good intentions after leaving Africa and coming back to civilization with the idea of turning these mutated plants into the form of it, growing new crops, bringing, good to the world, but then he succumbs to madness and power. And it's more about him in Konga then just becomes a side note. He becomes a sidekick. He's doing all his nasty bidding, which is sad.
If it were titled The Diabolical Dr. Decker, there wouldn't be that much of a complaint about it. But because it's Konga and they advertise a kaiju-sized gorilla tearing apart London, everyone's just like, really?
Yeah. So I was kind of disappointed. Like you say, it's not till the last 10 minutes or so of the movie where things pick up with Konga, and then he becomes like a threat in his own right, where Decker loses control, Margaret loses control. He then breaks out of the foundations of the home, tramples through the greenhouse, makes his way to London. But like, even if they had shortened some of the other elements of the plot with him and say Sandra, shortened it a bit, they could have had elements of him walking around London destroying buildings or ripping up Tower Bridge to give it like a more epic feel and more like kaiju elements to the film. But the fact that the whole plot was like this, trying to hide that he was a scientist with this secretive, the giant plant life and stuff like that, it took away from what the film potentially could have been. And I know they killed Konga off straight away, but they could have always done it where he just escaped, jumped into the River Thames, and you just seen him swim away, and you didn't know where he was going, and that would have left it open for a sequel. And then if they did a sequel, if this did well, they could have had the second one where he's just a full-on kaiju wrecking machine. But that's just my thought on Konga. But Daniel Miller, what are your thoughts on Konga?
Okay, my final thoughts.
Called The
Yeah.
Queen Glamour Zone. Apparently, the novel has a completely different plot.
Ooh,
Hmm.
that's news to me. That was a novel.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. I have to keep my eye out for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Konga, final thoughts. Wasn't it wasn't at all what I was expecting, at least for the majority of it. To me, Konga, it again, as we talked about the poster, it's very misleading.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do like about it is, of course, Michael Goff's performance. Unlike his previous film acting, which was in Hammer's Dracula with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, he
Yes.
actually gives really good moments of acting in both films, particularly in Konga, where he leans more into the diabolical uh, side of the character, which I think that he actually has that energy if he did more antagonistic roles in other movies. He's a really good fit for a villain as well as for a protagonist or a protagonist ally. In terms of the effects, clearly it was a very, very tight budget that the production team was working with, and it shows. Whether
And
it
it
be
was a product
one,
of its time,
yeah,
so they had limited, like you say, a limited budget, and
yeah,
then obviously the work with what they could, and like I say, back then, like the plants look interesting. They look like they've got great detail in them.
yeah.
And then Konga suits okay.
It
Obviously,
gets
in
the job
today,
done.
it got the job done for what they needed to do with it.
Yeah, but yeah, really, what you'd be shown on the box is the whole final act, like the last 10 minutes of the movie, and yeah, there is definitely it has a lot of it had some potential, and if it were to be remade today, they could definitely do a lot more with it, or even readapt the novel if they could find it. But as it stands now, I take it for what it is. It's an enjoyable. I wouldn't really say kaiju movie, but I'd say more of a mad scientist pseudo revenge plot centered story. I'd rate it.
So
I'll just go
that's
for about a 4 out of 10. It gets the job done. It's not
mm,
exactly what it advertises, but it's a pretty decent movie to watch on a rainy afternoon.
it's a decent movie, but I personally wouldn't consider it a kaiju movie
Hmm.
because there's very little kaiju action. Mr. Jake Hall, overall thoughts and ratings of Konga.
Oh Lord. So after rewatching it for a while, I mean, I still enjoy it for what it is, and especially for the budget they had. I mean, it was like Daniel said, it was misleading,
Mm.
and if it should have been called Konga and the Mad Scientist.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it should have been called,
Hmm.
considering it dealt more with the mad scientist element than the gorilla aspect Konga. Uh, all in all, it was very decent. Uh, now for rating, uh, what did you give it, Daniel?
4 out of 10.
I'm right in the middle, 5 out of 10. And before we get to Kevin, they actually did make it another Konga movie. It was called Konga
TNT.
TNT. I saw the trailer for it. I was like, no, no.
Yes,
Eh.
yes, it's one of them sci-fi asylum films. So I like the good shit, not the shit. Uh,
Hmm.
but anyway, going back to my feelings of Konga, for me, it's not a kaiju movie. It's a mad scientist film, and if we were going to retitle this, I would have said The Rise and Fall of Dr. Decker. That's what I would have called it, or The Rise and Fall of the Madness of Dr. Decker.
Mm.
With the plot, with nearly said it, Konga put on the side. And I think if they had pushed the mad scientist element more in the trailer and showed him progressively getting deeper and deeper into madness, it might have sold the film more than what we got. It's an okay movie. Is it something I'd own or watch again? I don't think I would. I think if I did watch it, it would be in a long time if there's nothing else to watch. And I'm going to give it the same rating as Mr. Daniel Miller, 4 out of 10. But there are Konga fans, and because of, I guess, the film does have a cult following.
Yeah.
The character of Konga does have a following. So, reading this, there is a novelization of the film. Also from 1960 to 1965, Charlton Comics published 23 issues of the comic book Konga. It included work by Spider-Man co-creator Steve Ditko. The series was renamed Fantastic Giant with issues 24, which turned out to be the last issue of the series. It also says Konga also appeared in a 3-issue miniseries that started off as The Return of Konga before it was renamed Konga's Revenge with issue 2. The series ran from 1962 to 1964 and was followed by a one-shot reprint of issue 3 in 1968. In 1990, Steve Ditko illustrated a backup story in Web of Spider-Man Annual 6 called Child Star. In the story, Captain Universe creates a huge version of a toy based on Gorgo and Konga to battle giant monsters that are attacking the neighborhood. For copyright reasons, Konga's name was altered to Kongo. The sequence was Ditko paying homage to his early work with these two characters in the 1960s Charlton comic book series. Some of these issues were reprinted in black and white in a trade paperback in 2011 called Angry Apes and Leaping Lizards. In August of 2013, IDW Publishing reprinted all the issues that artist Steve Ditko worked on, Konga 1 and 3, 15, and Konga's Revenge 2, as a deluxe hardcover collection called Ditko's Monsters Konga. In April 2019, IDW published a book called Ditko's Monsters Gorgo vs. Konga, which collected issues 5 and 6 of the series. Starting in March of 2023, PS Art Books began reprinting the entire series in a series of hardcover and trade paperback editions. So there you go. So Konga's comic book and the movie and the love and the fan base is very much alive. But there is some other great things coming for Konga. First and foremost, a few years ago, this came out.
Oh.
A Konga statue.
Oh, wow.
I bet you Jake Hall doesn't have that one.
Yep.
So that's it there. So that came out. And later in the year, at the end of 2025, we had some excellent news. The excellent news came courtesy of Titanic Creations. Because Titanic Creations have over the last few years been taking lesser known kaiju properties, getting the rights to them, and creating articulated figures. So far, they've done Gorgo, they've done Yongari, they've done Pulpazari, and guess what's next? We are now getting Konga Reptilicus in the giant claw.
Wow.
So Konga's coming back with a bang.
Mhm.
He's not dead yet, and you never know, because of the popularity of, the figures in, let's be honest, the big boom of the Monsterverse that kind of brought, popularity back to the Godzilla franchise. Things
Yeah.
like Pacific Rim, things like Cloverfield. Kaiju's been coming back in a big way. We've had Shin Godzilla, we've had Godzilla -1, we're getting Godzilla -0. Like I say, we're getting Legacy of Monsters Season 2. And of course, when it comes to Kaiju merchandise, right now, it's the best it's ever been.
Mhm.
And there's so much coming out. And the fact that you've got a studio like Titanic Creations that is happily prepared to try and get the licenses for lesser known kaiju and give some much needed attention to them, all respect in the world to Titanic Creations for what they're doing. And the fact that one of their focus characters is now Konga, brilliant. Not like a bigger fan of the movie now. I've finally seen it, but much respect to it, because back in the 1960s, the boom of wacky science fiction from the 1950s to 60s was still at the forefront of cinema at the time, and they did the best they could with the production and the film and the budget. So much respect to the makers of the movie. Even though I'm not a fan, I do respect them for what they built. So, and in the movie, like you say, you had the towering Konga, scary as hell. Then, of course, you had the Venus fly trappers plants, and of course, the most terrifying thing I've ever seen on screen, the penis tongue plants.
Erectus carnivorus.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to wake up with that in the morning. And I've woken up with a few unexpected surprises, put it that way. But anyway, this has been Konga. Amazing guest, Mr. Daniel Miller, aka the Professor, and of course, nowly the new crowned Kaiju Enigma Ultra J-Core. So, what's coming up on the entertainment headquarters next? So, on Friday next week, we're going to be going into the darkness. My segment on the channel dedicated to all things horror, and we're talking the Exorcist franchise. And I believe Mr. Daniel Miller will be a part of that as well. And then beginning next month, the next Kaiju Connections Classic Kaiju discussion is going to be Reptilicus. So, yes, just like Konga, we're going to give some much needed attention to Reptilicus. So that's what's coming on the channel soon. Mr. Daniel Miller, would you like to tell us what you've got in store for us?
I did mention I'm working on a double feature retrospective on 2 Godzilla movies. That's separate projects, and it's going to be a very grand, very big one.
Are you talking about the penis plants?
No, I'm not talking about that one, Kevin. That's your project. That's your project, Kevin. Don't shift the assignments.
I'm actually talking to Queen Glamazona. She's saying the power of Christ compels you.
Who trusts in you, let him find in you a fortified tower safe from the clutches of the enemy. See, I've revised the Roman rituals. I know my exorcism rituals. But yeah, also for my channel, which I'll show a little, try and do a bit of a teaser here. I've done some time-lapse art videos, at least 2 on my channel. And here is a, here's the full thing, is what it's going to look like for the next one.
Nice. That looks really good. Great artwork.
Yep, based on the unmade 1994 movie with the design held by Stan Winston.
Nice. So we've got some great stuff coming there, as you can see, from Mr. Daniel Miller. As you can know, my friend here, Jake Hall, doesn't have his own channel, but he's a friend and he's always a welcome guest on Kaiju Konnections. So if you want to be a part of Reptilicas, just give me, the word and we'll get you on here. But this has been fun. It's been interesting. It's been a unique one, this one, Konga.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, first time watching it, you never know, my feelings might change through time, but being first view of it, it wasn't the film I expected it to be. And apparently Big Barrels has thought the plant dicks was Jake's project. What can we say? And yes, that is very true. Reptilicus is a camp classic. I do agree with that, and we'll be talking about that on the next Kaiju Connections. But as always, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks Queen Glamazona. Thanks Roman. Thank you Big Bad Wolf. Thank you to Sister Sarah, my flock, and of course, thank you to Jedi Granville for tuning in and giving us your time. Been a blast having you watching us today. If you wish, please like, share, and subscribe to Entertainment Headquarters. Please look for Dan Filliman and please like, share, and subscribe to him. And if you want, just say hello, Jake. But this has been the Entertainment Headquarters. This has been the retro classic, not the retro classic movie. This has been Kaiju Connections, where we talk all things kaiju. So until next time, keep loving all things movies, all things television, all things entertainment, and of course, keep on loving all things kaiju. Take care, everyone.